The planet Argon. 9 was nothing but dust, heat, and silence. Once a thriving outpost of the Zalari Dominion, it was now an abandoned battlefield littered with rusted wreckage and corpses that no one bothered to claim. Commander Elias Vance of the Terran Peace Corps didn't plan on staying there long. His mission was simple: locate a crashed beacon, retrieve its data core, and leave before the radiation storms rolled in. But nothing on Argon 9 ever went according to plan. His ship's sensors had picked up something unexpected, a faint life sign near the wreckage of a Zalari war skiff. Against every logical instinct screaming "leave it," Elias sat down anyway. The Zalari were humanity's enemies, after all. They were tall, elegant, and cold, skin that shimmered like molten glass, voices like thunder. They'd burned Earth's colonies and enslaved hundreds of human worlds before the truce. But something about that single, flickering life sign made Elias pause. Maybe it was the memory of his sister, killed in the last Zalari raid. Maybe it was the small part of him that still believed mercy wasn't weakness. The wreckage hissed as he pried open the mangled cockpit. Inside, half buried under shards of alloy and twisted metal, lay a woman, or something close to one. Her silver skin was fractured, leaking faint blue light from wounds that looked fatal. Her breathing came in shallow bursts, her white eyes flickering like broken glass. "Hey," Elias said softly, kneeling beside her. "Stay with me." The alien woman's eyes snapped open, wild, terrified. Her hand shot up, gripping his throat with inhuman strength. Elias froze, hands raised. "Easy. I'm not here to hurt you." Her grip tightened for a second, then faltered. The glow from her eyes dimmed. "Human," she rasped. "Why help me?" Elias hesitated. He didn't have an answer that made sense, not to her, not to himself. Finally, he said, "Because you're alive. That's enough." She stared at him like he'd spoken madness. Then her head slumped against his chest. Unconscious. Elias worked fast, sealing her wounds with biogel, rigging an oxygen patch to stabilize her. The storm clouds were rolling in, dark and electric. "Of all the stupid things," he muttered, hauling her onto his shoulder and heading back to the shuttle. As the storm screamed around him, one thought repeated in his mind: this could get me killed. But somehow he didn't care. Middle, the woman who shouldn't be alive. Hours later, the alien woman woke up inside Elias's ship, her body patched with human medical tech. She sat up slowly, eyes scanning the small cabin, the hum of Terran engines, the smell of metal and ozone. Her gaze fell on Elias, sitting across from her with his rifle close by. "You're safe," he said simply. "Safe?" she repeated, her voice soft but laced with disbelief. "You saved a Zalari soldier, human. Your people execute us on sight." Elias shrugged. "Maybe I'm not like most people." She studied him in silence, tall, scarred, eyes that spoke of wars and regrets. "Then you're either a fool or something rare." He chuckled. "I'll take that as a compliment." Her name, she told him, was Saren of the Zalari Vanguard, daughter of a high general. She'd been shot down during a covert mission gone wrong. Her craft had malfunctioned when retreating from a magnetic storm. She hadn't expected anyone, especially a human, to find her alive. For 3 days, Elias repaired his ship and tended to her wounds. She was strong, proud, and infuriatingly silent most of the time. When she finally spoke, it was usually to question his motives. "You risked your life," Saren said one night as the storm battered the hull. "Why?" "I already told you," he said, sipping Ration's coffee. "Because you were dying." "That's not an answer. You and I are enemies." "Not today," Elias replied. "Out here, We're just two survivors. She tilted her head, studying him again with those glowing eyes. You don't hate me? He hesitated. I've hated plenty of Zolari before, but right now you're just you. Something flickered in her gaze, confusion, maybe even warmth.
She didn't respond.
That night, Elias dreamed of Earth, of blue skies and laughter, of things long gone. When he woke, Saren was standing by the viewport, looking out into the void. Your world, she said softly. It's beautiful, isn't it? He nodded.
Was.
Before the wars. My people destroyed what they feared, she whispered. And humans, you never stop trying to understand what you hate. There was silence, a fragile, heavy kind. Then the alarms blared. 2 Zolari interceptors were approaching fast. Elias cursed under his breath. They're tracking your distress beacon. Saren's eyes widened. If they find me with a human, they'll execute us both. Then we'd better move. He jumped to the pilot's seat, hitting the thrusters. The ship roared through the storm, plasma fire streaking behind them. Can you override their targeting? He shouted. Saren slid beside him, her hands dancing across the console. I can jam them for 30 seconds. That's all I need. The ship lurched violently as Elias dove through a canyon, dodging plasma bolts that lit up the clouds. The turbulence slammed them together, her hand gripping his arm instinctively. Hold on, he yelled. The engine screamed, the heat shields glowed red. And then, just like that, they were free. The interceptors vanished behind a wall of storm energy. They sat in stunned silence, breathless, staring out at the stars. Elias grinned. You're not a bad co-pilot. Saren exhaled shakily. You're insane. Probably. She laughed, a sound so light and human it startled him. It was the first time he'd ever heard a Zolari laugh. Middle part 2, something strange, something human. They drifted for days afterward, navigating asteroid fields and avoiding patrols. In that time, something began to shift between them. They shared stories of their worlds, their people, the scars left by endless war. Saren told him of the Zolari philosophy, that emotion was weakness, compassion a flaw, that mercy had no place in conquest. Elias told her of humanity's greatest strength, its stubborn, reckless heart. You're kind, she said one evening. You fight even when there's no chance of winning. That's how we survive, he replied. Not by being stronger, just by refusing to quit. Her expression softened. And yet, you saved someone who should have killed you. He looked at her quietly. Maybe that's what makes us human. Her gaze lingered on him. Or maybe it's what makes you something more. There was silence again, the hum of the engines filling the space between them. Then Saren did something unexpected. She reached out, brushing her fingers against his hand, her skin cool and shimmering. In Zolari culture, touch means trust, she whispered. He smiled faintly. Then I'll take it as a good sign. Ending the gift. Days later, they reached the edge of human space. A Terran patrol ship hailed them, warning shots lighting up the void. Saren's face hardened. If they see me, they'll destroy us both. Elias thought fast. We'll fake a crash. I'll jettison you in an escape pod. They'll think you died. She shook her head. No. You'll be court-martialed for aiding the enemy. I'll handle it. You'll die. He met her gaze firmly. Worth it. For a long moment, she said nothing. Then, to his shock, she stepped closer, her forehead touching his, a gesture of reverence among her kind. In another life, she whispered, we would have been allies. Maybe we still can be, he said softly. She smiled, a small, trembling thing. Then take this. She pressed her palm to his chest, and for a heartbeat, light pulsed between them, a surge of warmth that burned deep into his skin. When she pulled away, a faint sigil shimmered there, glowing through his uniform. What did you do?" he asked, breathless. "I gave you my mark," Saren said. "It will protect you, and one day it will open doors even I could never enter." Before he could speak, she stepped into the pod. "Goodbye, Elias Vance." The hatch closed. The pod launched into the void, vanishing into a sea of stars. The Terran patrol found Elias hours later, his ship damaged, his story vague but believable. They sent him home. Months passed. The war ended in an uneasy ceasefire. Humanity rebuilt. Elias thought often of Saren, her laugh, her eyes, the light she'd left in his heart. Then, one night, his communicator flashed a strange signal, a pattern that matched the mark on his chest. He activated it. A hologram appeared, Saren, older, wearing the robes of a Zalari ambassador. "Commander Vance," she said with a faint smile, "if you're seeing this, it means peace has begun. My people know your name. They call you the human who saved the enemy's heart." Elias stood frozen, a lump in his throat. "I repaid you," she continued. "Not with words, but with change. You showed me humanity. I gave that gift to my world." The message ended, and for a long time, Elias just stared at the stars. Maybe mercy hadn't been weakness after all. Maybe it had been humanity's greatest weapon. He smiled faintly, touching the mark glowing softly beneath his shirt. Somewhere out there, she was alive, and because of one act of compassion, so was hope.